Get it? And did you hit go live?
Done redirecting to Facebook Live.
Oh, there's the live. I see you.
I am not looking at Facebook. Yeah, diddy da diddy da da da. 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 Yeah, da 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 Here we go. One more time. Sorry, everybody, changing the setting. Yaakov, Mishkelotecha Yisrael. Ma tov ohevecha Yaakov, ohevecha Yaakov, Mishkelotecha Yisrael.
All right, good morning, everyone. Shabbat Shalom. Welcome to our homes on this beautiful Shabbat morning. As always, you can find the prayer book pages for this service in the comments. Important information will also appear in the comment section during the service. Thank you to Dave Zucker and Aviva Simons for managing our streaming this morning. Please say hi if you are watching by typing Shabbat Shalom in the comments line, Shabbat Shalom, and hit enter. And let us all know that you are here sharing services with us this morning. And just a reminder about page numbers. If you have two sets of page numbers, we are calling the numbers that are in the brackets. Go ahead and find Shabbat Morning Service Roman numeral 2 in your Mishkan Tefillah, which is page 288. Or it's just the first page in the prayer packet. If you're using the prayer packet, Leslie has made it so easy for us. You just need to click one page ahead each and every time. For immediate technical help, you can call CBT's technical support line or text, and that number is 913-303-1134. If you have feedback for us about today's service, we suggest you take some notes and send them over in an email next week. Let us know what you're thinking, and we thank you in advance. Shabbat Shalom, and we will begin with the opening song, the song that we're supposed to say each morning when we open our eyes. We say, Modeh Ani, thank you, God, for returning my soul to me so that I can be here for this beautiful day.
Modeh Ani lefanecha, Melechei v'kayam, Shehechizorto b'nishmati v'chena, v'chena, Rabba emunatecha, Rabba emunatecha, Modeh Ani lefanecha, Melechei v'kayam, Shehechizorto b'nishmati v'chena, v'chena, Rabba emunatecha, Rabba emunatecha.
We will continue on page 291 in our Siddur during the first of what I like to call the two sides of the coin. We thank God first for our bodies, that they are in working order this morning, that we are able to arise from our beds and use our voices to be together and sing. And then we thank God afterwards with Elohai Neshama, as in song, we thank God for our souls, that we are spiritually ready to be together this morning. But let us first read the words in the English on page 291. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe. With divine wisdom, you have made our bodies, combining veins, arteries, and vital organs into a finely balanced network. Wondrous maker and sustainer of life, were one of them to fail, how well we are aware. We would lack the strength to sustain life before you. Blessed are you, Adonai, source of our health and strength. Baruch atah Adonai, rofeh chol basar, umafli la'asot. Elohai Neshama, page 292.
Elohai neshama shenatata bi tehorahi. Elohai neshama shenatata bi tehorahi.
Our next section is Nisim B'chol Yom, our blessings for everyday miracles. And Leslie and I will alternate as we sing back and forth each of these seemingly normal things that happen to us every morning, but for which we should always give a second thought and be grateful.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lasech vivina lehachvin ben yom uven laila.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, pokeach ivrim.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, matir asurim.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, zokef kifufim.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, rokah haaretz al hamayim.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamechim mitzadei gaver.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, malbish arumim.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hanoten le'ayat koach.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, ha'ma'avir sheina me'enai utnuma me'afapai.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, shasani b'tzelem Elohim.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, she'asani bachorin.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, she'asani Yisrael.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, ozer Yisrael bigvura.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, oter Yisrael b'tifarah.
Amen.
So having completed this section of the morning blessings, we move to Psuke de Zimra, Psalms of Praise. And we are on page 302 with a selection from Psalm 92, Tzadik Katamar.
Tzadik katamar yifrach, ke'erez b'levanon yizkeh, shetulim bebeit Adonai, lechalat chot Eloheinu yafrichu, od yanuvun beseva, beshenim behanadim yiyu lehagid, ki yashar Adonai tuhiv Eloav latavot.
Our voices continue with Psalms, with Psalm 150, commonly known as Hallelujah, which you can find on page 306.
Hallelujah.
continue now with the Shema and its blessings portion of our service. We are on page 317, and we'll read together in English. O God, inspiration and guide for all, you have spoken in 1,000 tongues for us to hear. In every land and every age, your children have heard you and imagined you in separate ways. And yet, O God, you are one, unifier of humanity. We give thanks for the sages and teachers who bring us understanding of your will. Gratefully, we recall the lawgivers and prophets, the psalmists and sages of Israel. And joyfully, we remember that from the dawn of Israel's life, we would turn to you and find purpose. May the teachings of our ancestors live on in our minds, and their passion for righteousness stir our hearts. Help us to live so that our daily conduct reveals the beauty and wisdom of your truth.
Baruch atah Adonai, habocher be'amo Yisrael, be'ahava. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום בלבבך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בהם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו עשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
We'll keep our voices in song as we continue with Mi Chamocha, our Song of Freedom, on page 322. So we'll continue now with the Amidah, the central portion of our service this morning. Seeing as that we are in many places physically and many different customs represented, we will begin the Amidah together on page 323, and then I invite you to continue the rest of your Amidah silently. You may use the words found in the Siddur or that which you are carrying in your own heart on this Shabbat morning for your silent prayer. But first, Adonai Sefatah.
Adonai Sefatai Tiftach Ufi Agi Tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. יהיו לרצון עם רפי, והגיון ליבי לפניך. יהיו לרצון עם רפי, והגיון ליבי לפניך. אדוני צורי, אדוני צורי, אדוני צורי וגואלי. אדוני צורי, אדוני צורי, אדוני צורי וגואלי. יהיו לרצון עם רפי, והגיון ליבי לפניך. יהיו לרצון עם רפי, והגיון ליבי לפניך. אדוני צורי, אדוני צורי, אדוני צורי וגואלי. אדוני צורי, אדוני צורי, אדוני צורי וגואלי.
We will continue now with our service for reading from the Torah. And this morning we will have just a short reading from the book of Deuteronomy. And I obviously don't have a Torah scroll in my house. And so we are also trying to make sure that everybody stays safe. So I will be reading from a Chumash. If you would like to follow along, the link is in your e-news. But first we'll do a song to get us in that Torah service mood. Page 367. Amazing now to think that we used to all walk around the sanctuary with the Torah, all touching it and kissing our prayer books. It's kind of a weird thought that that was something that was typical for us. And so the idea is that to demonstrate that Torah is with each one of us, it doesn't live up on high in the ark by itself. So my hope is that whether you are following along in a Chumash at home, whether you're following along with the Sefaria link, that you'll get a chance to bring some Torah into your lives beyond what I'm about to share. So we are in Parshat Re'eh, which is in the book, beginning of the book of Deuteronomy. And this is Moses telling the Israelite people about what the standards are going to be when you enter the land of Israel. So they've been told what the standards are while they're wandering in the wilderness. And many of them are going to hold over, but there'll also be some new ones incorporated as they settle in the land of Israel. And so one of the things that God is concerned about, and I think rightfully so, is that when they enter the land of Israel and they meet the people who are there, that the others in the town may say, we've got this really great God. You ought to check this God out. You got to follow this God. This God does some really great stuff for me. And obviously, God, like Adonai, who wants complete fidelity from the Jewish people, that's not going to fly. And so what God tells the Israelite people is, he says, and this is what I'm about to read, chant in a moment. If you hear it said of one of the towns that the eternal your God is giving you to dwell in, that from some scoundrels from among you have gone and subverted the inhabitants of their town, saying, Come, let us worship other gods, gods you have not experienced. You shall investigate and inquire and interrogate thoroughly. If it is true, the fact is established that that abhorrent thing was perpetrated in your midst. Put the inhabitants of that town to the sword and put its cattle to the sword. Doom it and all that is in it to destruction. Yeah, it's a little intense, right? So, but if we think about Adonai as a God who demands complete obedience and fidelity, it makes a little bit of sense. But what I would like us to focus on is the investigation piece of it. So God tells through Moses tells the Israelite people, this is not just an if you hear about it, go take action. If you hear about it, you are supposed to investigate and inquire and interrogate thoroughly. And only if it's true, the fact is established, and that thing happened in your midst, then you take action. So there's 3 layers on each side. You have to do 3 layers of investigating and then 3 layers of confirming. And so later on, the rabbis take this as a model for the Sanhedrin, which is the rabbinical court, that if something is alleged to have happened, you need at least 3 witnesses to attest to it. Otherwise, you can't confirm that it's actually happened. So a lot of times we see, excuse me, we see in Torah that there are these very harsh punishments laid out for all sorts of infractions, whether infractions against, mostly infractions against God and God's commandments. But at the same time, there are built in these fences and these ways to say that this is not just a punishment to be doled out lightly. You need multiple layers of multiple people to attest to whether this actually happened or not. And you need other ways of proving that some sort of malfaction has happened. And only then can you carry this out. So I call this the Torah's version of innocent until proven guilty. And you need to do a lot of proving. And the rabbis will further put layers and layers beyond this of ways to try to prevent these punishments and these horrific things from actually being carried out. So while on paper, it may say this is what's supposed to happen, that people have done everything in their power to prevent it from actually happening. So the difference between the letter of the law and then the register of the court, per se. So I like to think that that helps us protect people who are innocent from false accusations and make sure that those doing the investigating really do a diligent job in proving that something actually has occurred. So this is our little innocent until proven guilty piece. So I will be reading from chapter 13 of Deuteronomy, verse 13. There's the link in your e-news as well as the link in the comment section. And I'll begin with the alternative blessing for the reading of the Torah. Holy One of blessing, your presence fills creation. You have enlightened this path with the wisdom of Torah, giving it to the Jewish people as their particular way. Blessed are you, merciful one, who gives this Torah to the Jewish people. Hi tishma ha 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 ba'achat arecha asher Adonai Elohecha notein lecha lashevet sham lemor yatsu anashim b'nei Belial mikirbecha vayadihu et yoshvei iraham lemor nelcha v'na'avada Elohim acherim asher lo yadatem v'darashta v'chokrata v'shal'ata hetiv v'hineh emet nachon hadavar ne'estah hatoeva hazot b'kirbecha hekei takeh et yoshvei ha'ir hahihi lefi charev hacheram otaha v'kol asher baha ve'et behemataha lefi charev. Holy One of blessing, your presence fills creation. This Torah is a teaching of truth, whole and balanced, and from it comes eternal life for the people who embrace it. Blessed are you, merciful one, who gives this Torah to the Jewish people. So now typically we would have a Sefer Torah, a Torah scroll in our midst, and when in the presence of the Sefer Torah, we offer a Misha Berach, a prayer for those in need of healing. And this morning we also offer a prayer for those who help, because many of us are finding ourselves in caregiving roles that may be natural to us, and for some of us it may be something new. And everyone could use a prayer for health and strength as they work to give health and strength to others. May the one who blessed and led our forebears give countenance unto those who provide help for the ill and troubled among us. May they be filled with fortitude and courage, endowed with sympathy and compassion as they give strength to those at their side. May they fight against despair and continue to find within themselves the will to reach out to those in need. And in their love of others, may they feel the blessing of community and the blessing of renewed faith. And as we think about those caregivers taking care of those who are ill, we offer a Misha Berach for healing. You may access our Beth Torah Misha Berach list through the e-news that came in your inbox yesterday, or you can follow the link that is in the comments. If you'd like to offer any additional names, please type them in the comment box so we can all see them. Please go ahead.
May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. The renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
We have one song to conclude our Torah service, Eitz Chaim. The Torah is like a tree of life. Page 374.
Eitz Chaim hi lemachzikin ba v'tom ha'meusha deracheh darchenu v'chol netivotecha shalom. Ashivenu Adonai Elecha v'nashuva Chadish Chadish Yameinu Chadish Yameinu Kekedem. So sorry for that coughing fit. I tried to sneeze really quietly while you were reading, and that caused a chain reaction. Everybody, if you got to sneeze, just sneeze, because that
Absolutely. No problem. I had a cough in there myself too. So we are only all human, as long as after each one of those things, we all take our temperatures. So we will turn now to our moment of remembrance. We can read together on page 593 at the top of the page. In nature's ebb and flow, God's eternal law abides. When tears dim our vision or grief clouds our understanding, We often lose sight of God's eternal plan. Yet we know that growth and decay, life and death all reveal a divine purpose. God, who is our support in the struggles of life, is also our hope in death. We have set God before us and shall not despair. In God's hands are the souls of all the living and the spirits of all flesh. Under God's protection we abide, and by God's love are we comforted. O life of our life, soul of our soul, cause your light to shine into our hearts and fill our spirits with abiding trust in you. This week, our Kansas City Jewish community collectively mourns the sudden and tragic loss of Stacy Bell. She touched many lives and many congregations and organizations in which she participated in. And so we add her name to the list of those we remember this morning. Our Beth Torah community is remembering the recent loss this week. We're in the Shiva period for Rosalie Sternick, mother of Frank Sternick. We are in the Shloshim period, the first 30 days after passing of Irma Schneiderson, stepmother and stepmother-in-law of Mark and Reagan Schneiderson, and step-grandmother of Carly and Beth Schneiderson. Monica Kitt, mother and mother-in-law of Jeffrey and Barbara Kitt, and grandmother of Alexa and Sydney Kitt. Issy Ozar, husband of Leslie Ozar, father and father-in-law of Stephanie and Adam Eliashar, and grandfather of Jonah and Sarah Eliashar. And on their yard sites, on the anniversary of their passing, we remember Herb Adler, Castle Agron, Morris Leo Balanoff, Florine F. Caper, Consiglia D'Angelo, Elaine Franklin, Lillian Gelfand, Lori Renee Ginson, Rosalie Goldstein, Joyce Goodman, Rose Hellman, Sam Hipsch, Lily Hirsch Jacobson, Ruth Greenberg Kirstein, Leon Cooper, Jacob Osman, Florine Frankel Peck, Elaine Pfeffer, Jay Rosenstock, Irving Shames, Don Trainin, and Alexander Weisfliegel. We remember them all as we turn to page 598 and we recite together Kaddish Yatom. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shnei rabbah, ve'alma divra chirutei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechon uvyomechon uv'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, v'agala uvizman karib v'imru amen. Yehei shmei rabbah mevarach la'alam ulamei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yit hadar v'yit aleh v'yit halal shemei dekudishah v'richu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata. Tushbechata v'nechamata. Da'amiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya. V'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Osei shalom b'mromav. Hu ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Zikronam livracha, may their memories be for a blessing, as we say.
Amen.
So just some announcements before we conclude in just a few minutes. We want to thank everyone who has joined us, both those who in the past have joined us physically at the tour, and those of you who are joining us from far away now that we can all be together virtually. Thank you to Dave Zucker and Aviva Simons for helping our congregation have a virtual presence. Just a reminder that while we are now open during regular business hours, you must have an appointment to come in the synagogue building. Our entire staff can still be reached by email or by calling our office during regular business hours. Our next Facebook Live Shabbat will be Friday, August 21st at 6:30 p.m. If you would like to join us for Sichat Shabbat, our Torah study, that will take place Saturday morning at 9 a.m. on Zoom. Our next Thursday conversation will convene on Thursday, August 20th on Zoom. The topic this week is Kugel with Marsha Rittmaster. She has agreed to walk us through making her famous kugel, the recipe for which is about to be published. So thank you, Marsha. We are all very excited to join you in your kitchen. Tikkun KC is looking for volunteers to help turn their house into a home tomorrow, Sunday, August 16th. If you are handy, they need help with tasks like painting, building a retaining wall, and moving construction debris. Please contact Larry Meyer if you are interested in helping. That email address is larry@tikkunkc, TIKKUN-KC.org.
Big weekend. So we have a lot going on. Last night, I must say, the virtual ONEG was delightful. If you haven't been to one yet, you should check it out next time around. Keep an eye on your e-news, and you will find out when it's going to be and get the Zoom link. I do have song session again this Wednesday. Looking forward to that. And Havdalah tonight at 8 o'clock. What has four thumbs? Loves pineapple and poker, Jewish music and the Grateful Dead. Our guests for tonight. Many of you have guessed. Tim and Laura will be here to share a bit of Kavanah and a bit of catching up. And I am just so thrilled that they're going to be with us tonight for Havdalah. 8 o'clock on Facebook Live.
All right, and before, after our live stream has ended, make sure to like us on Facebook, leave us some comments about our service, and see what other events we have going on. Shabbat Shalom and stay healthy. We'll conclude with Ein Keloheinu, page 626.
Ein Keloheinu, Ein Kadodeinu, Ein Kemelkeinu, Ein Kemoshienu, Ein Keloheinu, Ein Kadodeinu, Ein Kemelkeinu, Ein Kemoshienu, Mi Keloheinu, Mi Kadodeinu, Mi Kemelkeinu, Mi Kemoshienu, Ein Keloheinu, Ein Kadodeinu, Ein Kemelkeinu, Ein Kemoshienu, Ein Keloheinu, Ein Kadodeinu, Ein Kemelkeinu, Ein Kemoshienu, Atahu Eloheinu, Atahu Adoneinu, Atahu Malkeinu, Atahu Moshienu, Ein Keloheinu, Ein Kadodeinu, Ein Kemelkeinu, Ein Kemoshienu, Ein Keloheinu, Ein Kadodeinu, Ein Kemelkeinu, Ein Kemoshienu.
All right, Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Mwah. Take care of yourselves out there.